light
Yes. Yeah.
and more.
Oh, not in the loft anymore.
No, I'm light also. I lose some weight.
Good. So yeah, I'm really happy like how
Yeah, me too, actually.
productive it was.
It makes more sense. I mean, like, I understand why Nuno was also mentioning like our proposal. And but as I mentioned, I think I mentioned to you also in the previous day, I know that we will have to build a user interface to interact with the Hydra code at some point. But for me, somehow that's given. Like we will do it at some point. But I was more interested in and that user interface, it felt like forced to try to put something in there, like just to use artificial intelligence to, I mean, to force it in that web interface for the Hydra code. That felt for me more forced than how naturally this exploration were proposed. This seems more organic. I really like the what Andrea did. I was really surprised. Like, and for the fast prototype, I really would like to play with that. Like, we have to then debrief that. Um, yeah, but yeah, in general, I agree with you. Like, I'm very happy with the results. Like, at the beginning, I was like, oh, almost like it felt like, yeah, I guess that was my feeling, like forcing how to use the AI. Like, like we have to put AI in what we're doing, and now it feels
Right.
like, yeah, like really, like it can become. I see it really as a compositional tool for us first. Um, it can really, yeah, I see it as a potential for the performance in itself, like how it
Yeah.
happens in the space.
Yeah. And it's really good that they made it as website. So I mean, if we want, we can just use it like that without changing anything.
Like the one, like yeah, the one that I have problem to understand, as I said, is what like the yeah, what Andrea has, like, is something that I feel that we can, through you, I guess, through understanding like how it works, we can work with that and make it. I mean, we just rehearse and work with that, but it's something that is working already like that. Um, but the one from William, I see potential, but is it the one that it demand it, like it seems that will demand more work to make it work for us. Otherwise, it's something that,
Mm,
because now, I mean, it's working, is doing something, but what does that mean for us? Like
right. It's a
for
technical demo.
it's exactly, yeah. Um, but I see potential in that. I just the thing, especially from the sound part, it doesn't have to be musical, but like would be, yeah, if we can expand that, but I don't know how realistic is that, in terms of time.
Yeah. Again, like, yeah, we have to focus on something like specific or like, yeah, we have to narrow down.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I think we should. I mean, let's talk anyway. Like, let's talk tomorrow. Maybe and then we debrief a little bit. I also, in time, I want to understand how it works. Then I can also play with how it works. But I think we should focus more on what Andrea was doing, because that's my feeling. Um, it seems, and she already put some sliders, so she didn't try. But if I understand correctly, it just means that in theory we could use the metadata from JavaScript to control these sliders. And I guess, right?
like metadata. What do you mean by metadata?
Like, say, like you record at some point information from your practice, no? Like from your computer. So that information, like cursor, or I don't know, metadata that we could, so that we could do something with that
Yeah, I mean, we
information.
can do any interaction or mapping the, yeah, whatever to these things. I mean, I don't know if the temperature is interesting, or maybe we could connect that somehow to the prompt could be interesting. I don't know.
I think when I mean like, we have to talk on this. So I guess as you said, I will agree. And I also I think like as I mentioned, maybe I would like to keep this week and next week on this. So I'm full on just with this. I'm not thinking of the academy. But then after that, I would like that we resume back there. Will be amazing if naturally we could find something that we could maybe make it work there. But for now, let's just not think on that and just focus in I guess in one that
Mm,
I propose.
right. I mean, anyways, we talk and then we have to think like how we proceed. Like, how we proceed because after all, I have a fear that yeah, we have to kind of start from like where like how do we want the performance for the academy
Yeah.
for February Inoshishika, and then from there we need to think about the tools we make, right?
But I think that the approach of this is like because already this week is gone. Like that, let's keep just this week and next week just to think on what we are doing from Modena. So the conversation is just around Modena. Uh, like let's just think like that. Let we just focus on this, and yeah, and then just as you said, like let's focus the concentration. I think it would be interesting working with what Andrea has for now. That because our conversation, I think um we should, I don't know, like yeah, we just like we need to have this conversation about tomorrow, not right now. Like just to
Right.
basically slow down with that and trying to make sense and what is that the model needs. Maybe we need, but just we need to play with that. Like already she has something that is working. So we just need to practice, basically. Need to practice that.
Mm, yeah, right. Yeah, let's talk later and then yeah. Yeah, also
Yeah,
we
don't worry.
just saw these examples, so I mean the yes,
No,
the sketches,
yeah, don't
so
worry. Don't worry. I think like just like we talk tomorrow, and I agree with you. That I think we should, in terms of time, let's focus in on Andrea. I mean, that's my thinking, like what we have from Andrea
yeah. I mean
for now.
it's not about like picking what we use, but yeah, basically what do we want in the end? And yeah, I'm just noticing like there's not much time left. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's why.
mm,
No, I mean, for me, at least for me, it's if I have to pick something, and I think I mentioned my intention to this of this with you. Like, I want to have a third character or something that I
yeah,
can interact with in a
yeah,
human level.
yeah,
So in that order of perspective, it means there is something that is. I mean, she just put that in today, so
yeah.
like
No,
there
I
will
mean,
be play with that.
I get your point, but also like I don't want to think about, like what do we pick or what we, but it's about what we do, and then from there, that what she did makes sense, so we use that. But it's
Yeah,
not about like is this
picking.
are you using Andreas or Williams? Like this kind of like weird thing to think about.
It feels weird. No, I mean.
It's binary, but
No, because like I mean that's the way that's what I guess I mentioned in this word often, but maybe it's just in my head is if I have something that I understand. So if we create a tool, I see this character as a tool, and we understand we can play with the tool. I see that this tool can help us to compose the performance. That's the way who I'm thinking, not thinking in how the performance is and then implementing the tool. You see the difference? Like I'm trying to like give so instead of thinking how the performance will be and then putting the things
mm,
in the like say like that's the way how we did. Yeah, I'm trying to focus,
okay,
or that's my approach is in focusing for now in trying to play it with this entity and then use it as a compositional tool to yeah, like
okay. So
literally we
yeah,
can.
I think I was misunderstanding what you mean by compositional tool, because then I thought it's something that composes, but now what I understand is what do you mean by compositional tool? Is that a tool that allows us to compose around?
Yeah, literally will be
Yeah,
like a
like
choreographic system. Like you that you can ask literally like, can you compose a dance piece of 20 minutes for two dancers? Like just an example. This is really literally
yeah, but I see it more like, I mean, we can talk about it tomorrow, but like the way, for example, how we did last week is like Pathfinder is the compositional tool that you refer to, right? But it is not composing, but since that exists, we can compose around that tool. I don't know if that's what you
you,
mean.
I mean you can think like yeah as an analogy, but then the difference is like in Pathfinder is just is reduced, no? So it's very limited to what are the options. Um, but it, I mean you in that example, yes, it is like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Uh,
for example, if we have this generative text, then it's not about we're asking this to generate something, but since this tool exists, we can create stories, narrative around this tool, and that this actually in itself it actually works on its own. So how to say, it's easy to expand, but basically it's about like this is the kind of the well, it's not a protagonist, but yeah, in a way,
like in a way as that's what I'm focusing in trying to understand or like in trying to play or trying to actually as a practice to practice with the tool and basically so defining the tool and then practicing with the tool.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're like now the tool is defined somehow. So one approach will be from the tool that we have now, we're gonna practice. And then you can
right.
start like from my one approach is like saying like give compose like asking the model to generate things that like create a performance for two dancers for 10 minutes and explain to me. Like that could be one approach, but the other approach could be what you were just saying, like
Actually, so this is really interesting point that you said about the practice because again, let's talk about it tomorrow, but let's before before ending, I think it's good to maybe just use the tool that, for example, like Andrea created and like without refining it.
because we're selecting the one of Andrea and not the Williams.
Exactly, exactly. No, so the thing is, we could do the same with the Williams tool as well, because then that's actually quite interesting exercise to, think about it, like, but because as a, you know, engineer, programmer, developer, it's easy to think about, okay, we build, like we refine it, right? We build something on top of, what's there and we refine, we can change the text, we can add more things, we can add more
Yeah,
interactions. But then
right.
how we should start is probably to try like create a performance with what they created
But
already
there is like so
without
that
adding things to it.
that's I mean that's what I was mentioning. Like I don't know if I was clear with my intention. My words is like to be honest, I see there is more potential. Like the thing that like William proposed, it is abstract by nature, so it's very complex, it's very rich and has a lot of possibilities. Because it's not really clear. So because of that, it has a lot of again this word of it has a lot of potential expressivity. It has a lot of potential to be different expressions of poetics. Um, what we have with Andrea is something that is more is based on language, human language, that is symbolic and representative. So it is not so abstract. It's quite concrete in terms of what it's doing. It's not too much. You see what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the big.
I know what I keep I keep saying this, but I I get your intention. Like I know what you're where you're going, but this is like what we should do talk about tomorrow. But yeah, just try things that are there already, and maybe it's actually interesting to do it. You know, just think about as a thought experiment or as an exercise. You know, what happens if we create a small performance around like these two tools individually, or maybe not, but just to think like I just thought because last week we did a performance around Pathfinder, which is already like something that, you know, normally people wouldn't think. And that's why it's interesting that we kind of push the limit of the tool. Um, and I get your point. Like if we work with the text, that's so much more, well, it's not concrete, but relatable. And what William made is more like but it can have, you know, different aspect of like an instrument, for example, and
Right.
right, and then we can also create a performance around it, which may not be what we want, but also we can see different potentials in like different tools. So
No,
let me,
I think I like the analogy, but you, I mean, in a way, I see like what like the text generation, I see more close to a tool in terms of like solving a problem, actually. Yeah.
let's say,
And
yeah,
in a way, it doesn't, at least in my head right now, how I'm seeing this, it's like as a tool that it has a purpose. Um, while the other one, you mentioned as an instrument, like it could be like a guitar that just like is opened. So it just
right,
like has a potential to just
yeah,
do things, not necessary to solve a problem, but just to expand.
yeah,
Um,
and
so
you know,
like the two
in
things are very different in nature. So and
right,
that's interesting that they're very different in nature.
yeah,
The one of William is very expressive. There's a lot of expressivity in that. Uh, yeah.
right, and you know, we might just end up using one of them or neither of them. I don't know, but I guess for now, yeah, let's just try what is there and we see.
Yeah. We keep on saying like we have to do this tomorrow. So let's do it this. But I'm very
We
excited.
in
But I'm
yeah,
very happy how the days went. Like I was like a bit reluctant of like like again I was thinking that it felt almost like as a force process to put this artificial intelligence.
yeah,
But now it seems like really this is bringing something completely new. Like
yeah. I mean, in a way, it's something like we kind of consciously avoided, right? We didn't want to add too many technical layers to what we do. We don't do like tracking, or we don't do, you know, this like technical things so much because we know that it adds a lot of complexity and that
no, yeah, exactly. And also I think like we should still work, but this is more in a meta level conversation. Like we should work in terms of in like minimal viable products still like understanding that we create a I mean this minimal viable product is like what is the minimum that we need
mm,
for a performance to happen, understanding that
mm,
we have now we have the possibility to work in a theater, we will be the two of us, but we are like we should be smart to work in a way that that the performance can run when we are not together, for instance. Like what about when the theater is small and the people are close to us, but what about if we have a stage of 1,000 people and we have really a stage? So there's like there's already there are two different possibilities that I was thinking when they said like choose the cathedral of
Kumuna.
Comuna. Like there's this already this differentiation, and I think we should still aim for something that should be adaptable. So like this idea of modularity that you guys actually were focusing when you were working with Flor, that's for me is like now. I mean, I'm really consciously thinking on this, and what we're working now right now, like how to make it so that it has potential for modularity, but also scalability, meaning that you can do the performance alone in a studio for 20 people in Japan with me, or somehow, or that we can do it together in a theater for 1,000 people in a stage where people
Mm,
are just that's really a challenge. That's for me like really it's of this
it's a bit choppy
that's a really a
now.
challenge.
Yeah.
And I'm like baiting that in terms of methodology or in terms of novelty in the field, something novel. If you can be scalable or modular, still be meaningful. I mean, that's something that I see novel.
Okay, so
Because basically,
the connection is really
stranger that's
choppy. I can't hear well. So I think we should stop here.
um,
But we can talk about it tomorrow. And so how many things we have to talk tomorrow? Um,
many things.
anyways, okay, so let's just close here. But I think we have interesting things, ingredients. We just have to cook.
Mhm. Just have to cook. I have to cook. And okay,
Bon
like
appetit.
let's talk tomorrow and see when we make it work.
We talk tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so
So see you tomorrow. Ciao.